I'm standing in the capital of Ukraine, Kyiv. Today is the 4-year anniversary of the full-scale Russian invasion into the country. 4 years is a long time of suffering, a long time of electricity outages, a long time of no vacations, a long time of lack of freedom. It's just a long time of loss. Pastors of our churches have been called up, fathers and sons, to fight in this war. Many funerals have happened in this country, and every morning when you wake up and there's been an attack the night before, someone somewhere in the city has died or been killed as a result of this war. Trauma has touched every household, loss has touched every family. The question I get from people in the West is, how are Ukrainians doing? And the answer is tired. When I come to Ukraine and I speak with Ukrainians, I talk with my brothers and sisters in Christ, I speak in churches, the number one thing that I convey is that you're remembered and that you're prayed for. And that's when they start to get emotional and I start to get emotional, because coming alongside Ukrainians and saying, we see what's happened in the last 4 years in your country, we stand by you in what's happened in the last 4 years in your country, and we're praying for you in this country. You are not forgotten. That's what Mission of the World is trying to do in these last 4 years, and that's when Ukrainians feel the most loved and remembered. Trauma has touched every family in Ukraine and every household in this country. We come alongside the Ukrainian church by giving toward the Ukrainian church, and that giving has allowed each of our churches to stay open, each of our pastors to stay in their posts, each of them to continue to shepherd their church in their cities by providing diaconal aid, by preaching about how to understand the church and how to understand faith during wartime. An initiative like Crates for Ukraine, which allows churches in the States to pack up a crate and send it to our churches here in Ukraine, a tangible act that saves lives, that provides aid, and that most of all helps the Ukrainian churches feel remembered and loved and prayed for. One example of this is the pastor of Holy Trinity Church in the city of Kyiv, where we are now, Ivan Bespalov. Ivan has been the pastor of the church for about 20 years, and over these last 4 years, he and his wife and the church have been able to provide aid and continue to preach and love, all with the threat of himself being called up into the military at some point. Ivan has been able to perform funerals, even perform weddings, counsel, teach, and preach during these last 4 years. Your gifts have enabled him to be able to do that. We have tangibly come alongside that church through Crates for Ukraine, through the aid that we've been able to give, through my visits, to encourage and to hold up his arms and allow that church to be able to feel remembered, to be prayed for. Despite last night's attacks, nobody was late to church today. But more importantly, that the church in Ukraine still exists, and they serve a God and find hope in Christ. The amazing thing that we've seen in the church in Ukraine is that it's not just surviving. It's not just keeping its head above water. In fact, it is growing and deepening in significant ways. People are looking for at this time is hope. What can they find that is deeper and more secure than what they see about what's going on around them at this time? And that hope we find in the gospel, and that community we find in church. And those two things are inviting others to come to faith. There really is a church, and there really is hope in Christ, even in a place at war like Ukraine. What they need more than anything is for the American church and for the Western church to come alongside and to remember and to pray, to acknowledge and to know and to be with them in this as much as we can. We continue to give specifically to the needs of the country, to keep these churches open, keep these pastors funded, and keep the aid going to the local cities that each of our churches are in. And that is by new missionaries coming, establishing new teams, and planting churches in new cities. Partnering with the Evangelical Presbyterian Church of Ukraine, coming alongside them and helping them to be prepared for an end to this war and be able to grow the denomination.